I had a billionaire mentor who's very big in the hedge fund game, and he's a massive guy. That's because I came with value. I wanted 8 figures by 20. I lost more than 80% of my net worth. I had a bunch of money sitting there, 6 figures. I was like a couple 100,000 at 15, 16. Woke up one morning and it was completely gone.
Honestly, bro, I just want people to know your story, okay? Because I think it's one of the wildest stories I've ever heard in the online space. So, like, who are you? Who's Moritz? For the people that don't already know.
Yeah, maurits, maybe seen your feed, maurits Neo. Been in the game for a while. I got lucky because I started really young. So I started my first online business at age 12, which is, I got blessed that I came into the industry so young. So although it seems everything is so quick, like realistically, I've been doing this now for 6 years. And it's what I love doing. I first started off, I was terrible, like the most retro little numbers I was doing with dropshipping. I used to run this online fitness store, like literally from my iPad, editing an iMovie. I literally just I went to the biggest guy in the gym and I was like, hey, can you film this promotional? It was for this really gimmicky, like 6-pack ab simulator.
Right.
And this was like the first online business I tried. I saw like, it was the early days, like Alex Becker when he was talking about e-com and all of that. And I kind of just dived into that space. And I made a very little amount of money. Like it's not, I was like 12-year-old dropshipping millionaire. It was like very little, like a couple $100. But for me, although the money wasn't very significant, it was like, this is possible.
Right.
Like, as a kid, you can literally just earn money from your laptop. Doesn't matter my age, it doesn't matter that where I'm from or whatever it is, like you can literally earn money from the internet. And for me, that was like, holy shit. And I mean, even at 12, when you're earning a couple $100 a month in South Africa, it's a lot of money. I think that was really like the opening stages. And from there, I just started trying out a bunch of different things. I did like the OG hustle, like I was selling sweets at school before that. And used to sell lemonade like on hot days by the park. And I just always had like, I liked entrepreneurship. I think a lot of kids when they grew up, they like idolize, like the footballers and things like that. But I always I was like, damn, bro, these Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, these were the guys I like had the most amount of respect for, just because money is just like sporting. It's like a competition. And these were like the gladiators that won. So I started off with e-com, nothing crazy. Like it was really, like it would probably dog shit, would never work now. And then I heard about crypto. I had a couple $1,000 from running the e-com, running some of the other things. And very quickly, my ads ran completely dry because it was literally the first product I tried. And I didn't really know what I was doing. I was a kid. I was editing on iMovie. It was really like very, very beginner stages. And I can't say I made a crazy amount of money from it. But for me, like it planted the seed. And then at age 13, I delved really into crypto. Also just, through the YouTube algorithm, I started first learning about Bitcoin. And I was like, wow, this is super interesting. Started looking into ETH and all these other coins. This was early 2020. And I realized very quickly how all the coins are very different. I like Bitcoin. I always believed in the idea like this is so important, especially in 2020. I saw the whole world going to shit and I was like, this decentralized, like no trust in governments, like this, I like this. So that went to Bitcoin, but then I realized like I have a couple $1,000. At the time, Bitcoin was trading at $8,000. And I was like, even if this goes crazy, like say this goes to 50,000, which it went even beyond that, I was like, okay, I'm going to get like a 5-6x on my money. And I was like, that isn't really great. Like $2,000 into whatever, like $10,000. Like, okay, that's not meaningful. So I thought, okay, the lower down you go on the coins, the more kind of better exponential returns you get in it. So discovered Ethereum, and then I discovered Vitalik Buterin, and he was always talking about the need for like Ethereum layer 2 solution. So I was like, that sounds really good. I really believed in ETH. Like that was for me. Like I loved it. I like smart contracts and all of that. And then I delved into Ethereum layer 2s, and I heard about Polygon Matic. Which was an incredible team at the time. It was still called Polygon. And it was such a cool project, and it solved all those problems that Vitalik Buterin was talking about. So I was like, I like the team. I looked into everything. I'm like, this project is going to go crazy. And it ended up being one of the top 3 best performers of the run. I think BNB and PancakeSwap did better, but it was really one of the best returns. And that bull run was super cool. I tried all the meme coins. I did everything. And I think crypto really was like the biggest multiplier. And then I was sitting at the end of the bull run. I was sitting on a good amount of crypto, but I had no cash flow coming in. So I had, although a lot of crypto and a lot of it, sold out, and other ones, took a tank. We all know what happened in 2021 to, the bear market. I lost a fair amount of money. And this time I'm 15, 16. And I was like, I need to work more on skill sets. And I started an agency with Ace Media. I was running social media for a couple companies. And I was doing basically all-in-one marketing. So I would create short-form content for them. I'd put it on TikTok. I would put it on YouTube Shorts, Reels, all of that. It's like an all-in-one. Like we'd do the editing. We'd, take care of everything. We'd run the ads. We'd respond to comments. We did all-in-one social media stuff. And I did that for a few businesses. Also, nothing ridiculous, but it gave me cash flow, which I really liked, which I then Started buying in the bear market. I started getting back into crypto. I kept, a lot of people, they were there in the bull market, and then as soon as things went bad, they dip out. You know how it is. They come there when Bitcoin's back at all-time highs, and they're going to buy back in. They're going to FOMO in a couple of weeks when Bitcoin's going back up. So yeah, I stayed in the industry. I thought, and I changed my approach very much. Back then, it was much more passive, whereas my role now in crypto is much more active. Taking equity in coins, or seed investing and getting in early and helping with marketing, etc. Because and during this time, I was also building my personal brand, which I think is how most people would know me. Is that I started posting reels, I started posting TikToks, and yeah, that's kind of how everything started. I ran an info product for a while as well, which did decently well, but I've completely stopped that now. I don't like kind of the whole, I think, info product space. I think is so cool. Like, you can learn so much, but I think a few people have tainted the name of it so badly that right now I have nothing to sell you. I like it's very freeing for me because I think I'm earning good money off what I'm actually doing, and then what, like, in crypto right now is made me the most amount of money in the last 3 months, more than I was ever earning for running an info product. So for me, I like this feeling. It's very free to me that I don't have any clients from my agency. I don't have any responsible. I'm really just taking equity in coins and earning that way. And I like that freeness a lot. But I think I'll definitely come back to that space eventually when the time is right. But that's a quick summary of my story. A lot of details missing out, big losses, crazy wins, and I'm sure we'll dive into more specifics. But that was really the journey from starting off with ecom, made a little bit of money. Crypto was a massive multiplier. Started posting on social media. I ran an info product for a while. Now I'm just basically full-time just in crypto.
Dude, insane.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, insane. And I think the craziest part about your story so far is not only the things that you've been able to do, but I'm more curious about, like, the information, the people that you found, the books that you read, but really the context that allowed you to think in the way that you're thinking right now. Because most people will never get to that thinking, and if they do, it takes some decades, right? And so things that you're talking about, taking equity and understanding leverage and understanding the value of having your personal brand and actually growing it in the right way and not just seeing it as a goal, but actually doing the things that are required to getting that, really, it's incredibly rare. So I guess, what information, what context did you kind of go down that rabbit hole for? Like, for me, it was like Alex Ramosi, Alex Becker, people like along those lines that really helped me kind of push towards where I'm at right now. Like, who are those people? What was that information that, like, allowed you to shape your brand in the way that you have it right now?
I think information is so underrated. I think, raw action is such a positive in that in the end get you the results, but your actions are based off the information you get. So for me, I think the most important stages for me was, at 12, 13, 14, 15, and even now when I was reading a book every single week. I've turned through 100 books because I started so young that I've always, understood the value of information. And not even just reading. Reading is super boring. I understand why people don't like to read, but I've always got a podcast on. I'm listening to super smart people, Alex Ramosi, those people you've mentioned. I've learned a lot from them, but I can't say there was like one central figure that helped me. But I think a lot of people idolize people. Like, you look at Tate or someone like that has so many positive attributes, but they just like idolize him. They looked up to him so much, or Iman or Luke, or all these guys in the industry that idolize. But I think take the best bits from everyone. I think I like Tate's way of getting attention. I think that I took from him, and I think I like Iman's, work ethic and how he does his content. I like that a lot. Yeah, but even people like, say, Marcus Aurelius and stuff like that, I've never sat down and watched a YouTube video from him, but he has, his books that you can learn from and things like that, as well as like, JFK. I thought he was one of the most charismatic, best speakers that you ever come across. Mm-hmm. So I think take the best bits from everyone, and people need to put more emphasis on what I call active learning, which is literally just sitting down, reading the book, opening a podcast, and you're just taking in information. Like, all dead time when you're just sitting in the back of the Uber, whatever it is, instead of scrolling TikTok, at least you just like play a podcast, even if it's like 15 minutes at a time. I think if you're constantly getting in information, that is like the basis point for everything. All the actions, everything you take is based off that information, and people's products are the result of that. So, I've done all of this alongside high school. I'm still in high school now, and everything I've done is alongside that. And you get a lot of information from school, but I think you need to put it through a filter system, because it's not that we don't have information. I think we have too much information. You get bombarded by thousands of reels every day. You have so much information coming on. You need to have a filtration system. And the easiest way to filter is just who's telling me that information. If you're talking to me about sales, I'm all ears. But, if my teacher's talking to me about money, it's like, yeah, you probably have the best intentions for me, or if your uncle, or whatever it is, like, you might have the best intentions for me, but, their lives are results of the information they have and the actions they took on that. So, if my teacher's telling me crypto's a scam, crypto's all of this, which, I heard plenty of that. Like, I was early 2020, I was like so excited telling people, they're like, well, it's a scam, like, don't trust Bitcoin, all of that. But their lives were results of the information they had. So although, I have respect for my teachers and things like that, it's like, simply they don't understand it. Whereas if I'm talking to some hedge fund billionaire and he's talking to me about how the markets work, I'm all ears. If Warren Buffett is telling you go buy the S&P 500, your teacher's telling you go buy the S&P 500, it's the same information, but you're going to listen to Warren Buffett where you won't listen to the other person. And that's simply because you want to, their lives are a result of the information they have. So, they've acquired that information and their life, is testament to that this information works. So, of course, you want to follow that.
100%. It's funny. Something I've noticed time and time again is a lot of times you'll ask someone for advice or their opinion on something, and even if they have zero context about that specific subject, they still feel the need to give their opinion. And so they'll just make a random opinion on the spot and try to provide it to you, and they'll die on that hill because that's now something that they've said publicly is their opinion, their standpoint on a certain subject. And so they'll just die on that hill, right? But again, if they don't have the results that you're looking for, why take advice from them? So, dude, that's super interesting because it's one thing to know that there are people that are living these types of lifestyles and that obviously they have information that if you were to get, it's going to help you reach that type of lifestyle as well. But it's a different story actually getting in those circles. And you have some insane friends in the space, both, insane mentors as well as some very well-known people in the space here. So I guess how were you able to position yourself where you can not only meet them, but be someone that they want to mentor and actually provide value to back?
Yeah. So I think this is such a cool topic. And I, every day, get hundreds of DMs of, 16, 17, 18-year-old kids that are like, let's be friends, let's hang out. Like, I'd love to be in your friend circle. But it's like, you're a shit muncher. Like, I don't want to be around you. And that's just how it is. Like, if you have no value, no one wants you around. I had a billionaire mentor who's very big in the hedge fund game, and he's a massive guy. That's because I came with value. The way I reached out to him is I gave him this amazing coin pick. I sent him an email. I was interning at this hedge fund. It's a good story to tell. But I was interning at this hedge fund in Cape Town, and I did really well, and I impressed the guys there. And because I did such a good job, I was working super hard. I did everything better than anyone else, and I was 15, 16 at the time, and I blew them away. So they were like, to their friends who were also hedge fund guys, hey, you need to meet this kid. And there was this massive, but very wealthy man who they introduced me to. And we went and have a Zoom call. He lives overseas. He didn't show up, which is like, fair enough. What is this billionaire going to talk to some random 15-year-old kid? Then I didn't talk to him for a while. And then I remember 2-3 years later, which is now 6 months ago, I saw him buy out a massive stake from Sam Bankman-Fried on this crypto deal. I was like, wait, I still have that guy's email. So I went back through the archives. I looked for the Zoom invite. I had his email, and I sent him a coin pick. I thought I need to get his attention. And that's actually from The Wolf of Wall Street. I remember if you watch the movie, in the interview there, he gives a coin pick in this interview. And I thought, okay, fine, let me try that. Like, this is the highest level guy. Like, I'm going to be able to have my mentor. Like, I need to get his attention somehow. So I sent him that coin pick. And then within 2 minutes, it was BitTen to Tau. This was like right at the beginning of the AI boom in crypto. And it ran almost 10x. And then I replied to the email saying, hope you got in. And then I had a call with him. And he said, yeah, if you're ever in the country, let me know. And I'd love to have you come past the offices. And I said, yeah, I'll be in the country next month. And I literally had school that time, like never. So literally with no notice, I booked a flight. I booked the shittiest hotel room, and I stayed there and I interned at this massive fund over in London. And I learned a lot from that. I got to meet so many high-level guys. And because I provided value, and when I was there, I made sure I was the first guy in the office. I was not getting paid to be there. It was actually costing me money. I had to book flights, hotels, food in London. It's super expensive. And although I gained nothing financially, I went there and I made sure I would be the first guy to show up. Like when everyone comes to offices, like this kid's already here. And everyone else, when they leave, I'll make sure, cheers. Make sure that, okay, wait, this kid was here before me. Now I'm leaving at 6 p.m. I own the fund. Like, I'm meant to be working out, and he's still here. And you do that every single day. And then like, okay, this kid's serious. Like, I have a bunch of guys, I'm sure, that intern there and they just, they just want to put it on their LinkedIn that they were there or whatever. But if you show that, like, you have that hunger, and I think people can spot, like, intentions and your drive, that if if you have that energy, like, this guy's going places that people want to tag along. So even if you're, at the stage where you're earning any money, like I already had that point, had some, experiences, already been in some teams in crypto, I'd already built up my own portfolio, already had a personal brand. But even if you're at stage 0, people can smell it on you when, you're ambitious, you're hungry, you're actually like determined to make it. You're not out here to snake people, you're not out here to do stupid things, then it compounds. But, if you want to be part of the circle, like, you need to have some type of value. That I think if you're here and you want to go to the top guys, say Eman Tate, all of those guys that are, absolutely killing it and the top of their field, like, why would they want you around? Like, you have nothing to show for it. Like, you don't want like an asocial relationship where it's like a parasite. where, you're killing it and I want to be friends with you. It's like, please let me hang out with you, like whatever, but, you're covering the bill, you're doing everything. Like, what value do you actually bring? So although friendship shouldn't be like an exchange of value constantly, it is. You can't just be hanging around someone that isn't competent. And I think you can't be friends with people that haven't been through, like, we've only known each other recently, but I think we've kicked off really well. It's because we've been through the same things. We know what it's like to payment processes, podcast. We know what it's like to have clients and all of that. Like, we've been through the same things. Like, if you haven't walked through the fire, you're not going to be able to relate to the guys that have. And that's why that all the winners hang out with other winners. And not only is it, more fun to be around top level guys, is that you can relate to them. Like, you can't relate to, say, you're on this path and you want to make it fun. You have, this friend from kindergarten or whatever that you've grown up with, but he just isn't on the same path as you. Like, the relationship doesn't work because you want to grow and they're holding you back. Whereas if you kind of break free and you make friends with the guys at the top, it just makes life so much easier. But I think put yourself in a position, I'm nowhere near, the level of some of these hedge fund billionaires, some of the top creators. I'm nowhere near there in terms of finance, in terms of knowledge, whatever it is. But they can see that, I'm on my way up. And that's really attractive to people. They don't want to, it's like an investment, if you see things are going well, you want to get involved. But if, the coin's been rugged, the guy's eating McDonald's, he's doing nothing, then you don't want to be involved in that. Like, you don't want to go out and, like, try save people that are doing ads. Like, people message me, like, everything's going wrong. Like, I have no discipline. I'm eating fast food and I'm watching porn all day. Like, please, like, be my friend, help me. And it's like, I don't have the energy to try save you. Like, it'll be a way better pitch. Like, I'm killing it, bro. I'm 16. I just made my first 40K month. Like, that's way more someone that I would want to hang around with. And, you want to be around winners. And a really interesting story is how Napoleon, I love Napoleon. He's one of my favorite people in the history, Marcus Aurelius, Napoleon, and how he would pick his generals were not the people that were the most luckiest, not the most knowledgeable, whatever it was. He would pick the luckiest people. So he would go to the battlefield and I want lucky generals. I want winners around me. The guys that just had, like, that thing that even though they weren't as knowledgeable, he wanted lucky people around him. And I want lucky people around me. I want winners that have, been through it, that have gone that, and everyone else feels the same. And say you look at, like, say a guy like Eman with Alex. Alex is such a good videographer and he creates incredible content. And that's why he's around a top guy like Eman who, has this massive platform that they both benefit off each other. And I think relationships need to be like that you have, some type of, win-win situation where it's not just like leeching off, but that you're both providing value to each other. And that's the most fun.
By far. So sick, man. That's very interesting that you say it in that way, because I think a lot of people are waiting for someone to save them. Right? Like they're waiting for that business model. No one's coming. They're waiting for a business model, that YouTube video, that mentor, the random person they're DMing to come and save them. But what you mentioned is building up your skill sets enough where people can sense the trajectory that you're already going down, and then they're betting on a winning horse versus coming in and, like, trying to completely shift to the mentality of this person who's just been in such a shitty place their entire life. And I think that's very, very important, because most people just wait around. They're literally just waiting around. They're kicking down the can. We see this a lot on sales calls, even, because with one of our info products, we deal with people that are later in their age, 50s, 60s, and it's always the same thing, which is it was never the right time. They kind of wait. They just waited around. They're waiting for something to happen, for them to meet that person, for that one thing, that one piece of luck to happen. But the success formula is literally preparation plus luck equals success. But people miss the preparation part and then just talk about luck.
I think, what really reminds me of this, yesterday we were at the beach, and I'm telling you, you have such a good, like, voice and you know everything. You saw the podcast. Less than 24 hours later, we're here recording a podcast, raw action. That's what people are missing. Yeah. Within 24 hours until you need to start a podcast, here we are. Yeah. It would take people like, I should start a podcast. 3 months later, they still haven't done it. Yeah. So I think raw action is what a lot of people are missing. Yes, you need the information, but you can do everything right. And I was in this period where I was, like, in this self-improvement ritual where I was waking up 4:30 every day, ice bath, read, meditate. I was doing everything right, but I wasn't actually, like, focusing on deep work, like actually ticking off the tasks that are going to bring you the money. And a lot of people, they're watching the right type of content, they're not doing the bad things, but they're not doing the right things either. Like, you can still ice bath, meditate, journal, do everything. And I did that for years. And I think it was super important, the discipline that it built. But it didn't directly make me any money. Actually hopping on sales calls, looking into projects, like investing, those were things that actually brought me results. And that's the work no one wants to do. It's easy to do all these, like, self-improvement things. You go to the gym and things like that. It's easy to do. Like, those things are easy. I think the actual deep work, like the mentally draining, setting up the website or whatever it is for your business, that, like, the main task, like the core focuses of outreach, whatever it is, That's what takes the most energy, but that's what gives you all the results. You can do everything right. You can take all the cold showers you want. And I was in that. I was like this self-improvement junkie. You can do everything right. Yeah, bro, I was in everything. And I think it helped me, but I wasn't earning that much money because I wasn't doing the deep work. So now my morning routine has gone from being the 3-hour morning routine of ice bath, meditate, journal, everything. I was doing breath work, I was biohacking, I was doing the fasting, everything, but I wasn't making much money. And now I wake up, I have a 15-minute morning routine, and I'm straight into work. And I get a couple hours of work done, I go to school, and the most common thing is I have no time, which for me is, I'm like, show me your screen time. I mean, like, just this week alone, and you see I had a boxing match, I've had 6 exams, I have school, I had launched a coin, I have company calls, I'm running my social media, I'm getting 30 million views a month. Like, if you just stop wasting time, you have plenty of time. So most people say, no, I don't have time. Like, show me your screen time, you got hours on that. What you're lacking is energy, motivation, and honestly, the information. Most people, I think they want to get started, they're itching to get started, but they have no idea what step 1 is. And from step 0 to step 1 is the most difficult part. But it's out there, you can find it. There's so much free information, let alone all the courses and stuff. Like, for free, you can open up any book, you can open up, a bunch of YouTube videos that teach you how to go from 0 to 1. But people just say, oh, I don't know how to do it. They don't bother finding out. No one knows how to do it. But you need to learn how to go from that 0 to 1, which is the most important part. Because once you're making money, everything goes easy. And Tate says you're never tired when you're winning. And I had that in my fight recently when I had a boxer. When you're kicking the guy's ass, it's easy. Like, you're not tired. But as soon as you get a couple big punches, like, all of a sudden, oh shit, my legs hurt. I'm like weak. And the same how it goes in business. When you get a client, you're like, oh, let's go. Like, everything's going. But then life happens and you get like this downward spiral. Yeah. And I think entrepreneurship, people think it's like that. All of a sudden it goes. But realistically, it's like this. You'll make higher lows. But, there's months where I'm like, I'm not as productive. Like, things aren't going well. And then when things start going well, everything just starts falling into place. And you need to just get that first win and build on that momentum. Those months where, there's those months where you just go crazy. Business goes crazy. You hit the gym. Everything is going right. And those wins all compound. But the same with losses. You take the sell, payment process cancels. You're like, okay, whatever. Start a new business. Doesn't work out. Blow money on ads. Okay, this coin went to 0. Whatever it is. And all those bad things compound as well. But, focus on that upward spiral. Once you have momentum, people take it easy. And I think I'm so grateful that when I was earning, say, 10K a month at 14, which is crazy and ridiculous for most people, that, you kept going. And then you get to those higher and higher levels. And if you're just comfortable, like, okay, it's good money, it's impressive, but I've never really been content. Like, even now, where I'm, especially by age, it's impressive. But I want to be way more impressive. I don't compare myself to, I'm comparing myself to guys that are 35 doing $1 million a month. I'm nowhere near that. I'm behind. Yeah. And I think I like that, even though I'm never truly fully happy, which I don't mind. Happiness, I think, is overrated. I'm never fully content. That I keep chasing that, even though by age demographic, I'm doing well. Yeah. But there's some 16-year-old that I've just seen making 200K a month, and I'm like, okay, no, I'm not doing that good. So although comparing yourself to others, they say comparison is a thief of joy, that's always been a motivation to me, just because I'm a competitive person. Right. And even if this guy's 35 and I see he's just bought this fucking Lambo, I'm like, I don't have a Lambo, okay, let's go. I like that competition. And a lot of people base it off age. I'm 60, I'm not earning anything, it's fine. But bro, age is actually so irrelevant, especially now with online business. You have so much leverage that age is less and less important in the equation. I mean, 50 years ago, it was nearly impossible to have 9 figures, 8 figures as a 20-year-old. Now it is so possible. We've seen so many guys do it. You used to have to climb up everything, but now because of the leverage and the opportunities through social media, it's possible for teenagers and young people in the young 20s to start earning 5, 6, 7 figures a month. Mm-hmm. And, this is a really exciting time. And I think age is less and less important. You can't just say I'm doing well because for a 16 or 18-year-old. Compare yourself to the top guys. There's no reason that even if they're 25, they have more experience, more resources, but you can get that. And I think comparing yourself to other people can be a positive thing if it pushes you. If it makes you all sad, I'm not earning as much as whoever, I'm sure a lot of people will look at that and compare themselves to me that are 19, 20 and okay, this kid's ahead of me. But the age is an important part. And I've been doing this for so long that I got blessed that I started really young. So I like comparing. How do you feel about that? Do you compare yourself to others?
Dude, massive. And it's funny because I'm in the exact same boat as you, which is I don't really care to be happy right now. In terms of fulfillment of where I'm at and how far I've come. Because a lot of people will always say oh, you should be proud of how far you've come and the growth that you've had. I'm like, yes, but in my head that needs to be 20% of the equation. 80% should be I could be doing so much more. And the proof of concept is that there are other people doing it. And so that comparison can be your downfall, or it could be the motivating reason why you do the work that's necessary. And something you talked about that's so fucking important. I see it all the time as well in myself and other people around me which is the leading and lagging indicators. So what you're saying is that, at some points in your life, you're dialed in, right? Your morning routine is dialed in, you're doing the work, you're making the sales calls, everything is dialed the fuck in, and you're getting these lagging indicators, which is the results that you're looking for, right? It's the money, it's the growth on social media, whatever it may be. That came from those leading indicators that you had to do originally. And what ends up happening is that people will start getting the results, and they'll think, oh, I'm getting the results. I no longer need to do the things that got me there. And so they'll stop doing it, but because it's a lagging indicator, they'll still get the results for a bit of time. Maybe they're still getting clients for a couple weeks, couple months, things are still going well, and all of a sudden it starts to break, right? They're getting less referrals, their clients aren't doing as well, whatever it may be, and they start falling down, and they realize, oh shit, the things I was doing before is what got me here, and they repeat the cycle. And so I think, yes, entrepreneurship is these ups and downs, but what creates the higher lows and does it more consistently is being very aware of those leading indicators, making sure that the inputs that you're putting in are very consistent versus just when things are going well, you have that motivation. When they're not, you're like, oh, whatever, at least I did enough, or I'm doing better than whoever from high school, whatever it is, right? And so I think comparison is completely contingent on what your goals are, and you can use it as a powerful tool, or it could be your downfall.
Yeah, but success is completely like a delayed result of the inputs you put in a couple months ago. Yeah. Even the money I'm making now is a result of the books I was reading 5 years ago, of the things I was practicing then, the discipline I was practicing then. Now it's the reason for the success now. And it's a massive delay. It's longer than most people think. Most people think if I start reading a book every week and I start doing everything right and I start doing outreach, it's going to come quickly. But no, success is a delayed result of the input you put in. If you do everything right, it takes time for that to accumulate. Like you might be doing everything right now, and 6 months later, a year later, 2 years later, you'll be happy you did it. Yeah. But people think, okay, I tried this, it didn't work. But if you kept trying it for the next 2 years, it would have worked. People just don't have the patience and the discipline to keep going with it. They think, okay, I tried the ice ball, I did everything, I tried 3 outreach calls. Like people don't understand the volume that it takes. I think most people underestimate how much you actually have to do, because everything is like the highlights. We show like the Rocky training clip. It's like the 15-minute montage of me sitting, doing work. But understand that I've been doing this since I was 12 years old. 6 years later now, and I'm like really, starting to level up and go to the highest levels. That people see the quick little montage, the time lapse of the work, and think, okay, that's easy. It's like the Rocky cutscene where it's just like a training montage, 20 seconds, hype music. But no,
2-hour movie, it's 20 seconds.
Yeah, and they think that's how it is. But really, it's the long journey of 4:30 waking up. I'm tired. I had a client call last night. I got 3 exams this week. I need to study. I got a school presentation later. Shit, I got client calls. I need to work. My portfolio's down $100,000. Like those are mornings that have happened, and then I'm happy those have happened because there's part of it. But there's a time where you have a lot on your plate, and especially I think if you're doing when you're young, that's the most difficult thing. It's just you have so much on your plate. You have you still want to hang out with friends. You have all the social activities that come with school. You still have all the exams, the tests. The actual. I have a full-time job, 8 hours every single weekday. Yeah. I'm sitting in class. I can't do any work then. So, my eyes are narrowed. So then I need to start, digging into sleep and things like that, which isn't ideal at all. So I think it's a lagging indicator of success, and people don't understand the volume and the sheer grit you need. I think that's super underestimated. It's like, oh, you need discipline. But discipline isn't just going to the gym and doing things like that. That's easy. I think discipline is the sacrifices. And Muhammad Ali was saying that the difficult part isn't showing up the training. The difficult part is staying away from the party, staying away from the girls, staying away from the drinking, staying away from all the fun things. You've made this money. You're already 18 and you're earning 6 figures or whatever it is. Like, go enjoy life. But like, no, I'm not where I want to be. Sure. And I think saying no to the things takes more discipline than actually like doing the things. Staying away from all the things. I think if you just stay away from drinking, you stay away from drugs, you stay away from bad people, you stay away from social media, wasting time, porn, staying away from those things actually has a much more positive benefit than doing the things. If you cut out all the bad things, it's easy to replace it with good things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's opening up like RAM, like bandwidth for you to be able to do the good things. That's very interesting. One thing that really struck me about you earlier on, I know we've only really been hanging out for a month and a half, 2 months now.
How long ago?
Nothing.
I we know each other for forever.
Insane, man. Actually, the first time I saw you was, I swear you were like 14, and it was like when Andrew Tate was blowing up, and you went to like Dubai, you did like the montages. Like I saw a bunch of clips online, and then when I saw you in person here, we met up, I think 5-6 months ago at Arabian's party.
Yeah.
When we first met each other, and then kind of reconnected. But one thing, once we started hanging out a little bit more, that I noticed about you that is a characteristic that I've noticed with the highest performing entrepreneurs and just people in general, is your stress tolerance. Dude, what was it, like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago? You were down today talking about this? You're down like a quarter M in like a week.
It happens, bro.
A crazy amount of
So I
stuff.
said, send the screenshot in the group chat.
And you said unfazed. One word, unfazed, dot. Bro, most people, doesn't matter how much money you have, most people would be shitting bricks. They wouldn't even know how to react. They would take it out on their friends. They'd be like in the biggest rut of their life. You were completely unfazed. How did you build that grit?
I think realizing, especially in crypto, like you just have those losses. Like I sent you that P&L, and I've had worse. So I think what you've had worse is it's easier, but I think you also just build up. Like when you used to be going and you lose like $100 when you're starting at crypto, you're like, oh, I'm all emotional about it. But now you see like 6 figures dropping, like I don't really care, you know. And I think it's just self-confidence that you can make it back and that you made the right decision. I think the real insecurity comes with crypto when you've FOMO'd into something, you don't understand exactly why you made that decision. If you didn't make it logically, if you made your decision originally emotionally, when you sell, you're going to be just as emotional. But if you entered it logically, okay, this is what I predict, okay, Fed's going to cut rates, I see this project, I see the AI narrative playing out, whatever your thesis was getting into it, you're logical when you're selling. But if you're like, oh, this is going up, let me throw some money in, then you don't have a logical reason for being in it. So you get super emotional. So on the investing side of things, if you enter projects and you enter decisions logically, and you had your thesis, I believe this, and this is going to happen, and it plays out or it doesn't play out, you know the logical reason, you know your thesis behind it. But if you just entered in emotionally, some guy on Twitter told you about it, you know, you saw the chart going up, you didn't want to miss out, then you have no idea what you're actually in for. And that's when the selling and when you take big losses happen, is when you didn't enter things logically. So if you have a set out plan, I think most people invest without doing less than 15 minutes of research in crypto. So they have no idea what they don't know the team, they don't know tokenomics, they don't understand anything about the project. And then when it starts going down, they shit themselves. But me, I know what I entered. I had my thesis, and that screenshot when I said I'm down $250,000 in the morning, I wasn't worried at all. I was actually just like fine. I knew what was playing out, and I've made that back and more.
I was freaking out more for you than you were freaking out for yourself.
I remember I went to the gym that day, and I just had extra energy for the session. I was just pissed off. Yep. But I think if you enter decisions logically, you stay logical throughout. But if you enter emotionally, then you have no idea what you're doing, and you'll panic when things aren't going to plan.
And I think that's so cool that you say that, because that's in crypto, but that's in literally every other part of life, which is you have a hypothesis on what you should be doing. I talked about this on a different video, but you have a hypothesis on what you should be doing. Right? Based on the context that you have an idea of what you need to do to succeed. So you have a hypothesis, you take action on it, and then the action is going to have a certain result. That result, if you reflect upon it, becomes the new context for new hypothesis. And if you continue rinsing and repeating this process, you eventually become more adept and understanding and knowledgeable within that specific field. And then you're able to make better and better decisions. You have more and more confidence, and you're able to take these bigger swings and know that you have a really high hit rate, right? And so I think reflection is one of the most important things that people can do to guarantee their success. Like if you're incredibly reflective and you're going through this pain, and Ray Dalio talks about this in Principles, right? Which is pain plus reflection equals progress, right? Mm-hmm. That's how you progress. That's how you learn. And so I wonder, what were some of those points that you feel like you've had reflective thoughts that really became the catalyst for your growth?
I think stress tolerance is underrated. Going back to what we were talking about earlier, is that stress tolerance is, I think, the most important determination of how far you're going to make it. Like, how much can you handle and not completely go crazy? I think if the average person had what I have on a plate for a month, if they had to do that, they just physically couldn't handle. Yeah. And I think you build that up by doing difficult things. Like recently with doing the boxing match, I had no reason to do that. I'm sitting on a good amount of money. I have exams in the middle of it. I wrote an exam the morning of my fight. And I go do which is one of the most difficult things I've done. And I have so much respect for fighters. Is just, do difficult things. I want to climb Mount Everest. I want to do a marathon. I just want to have these difficult things that bring me a lot of stress. Like, I'm worried I'm going to get my ass kicked in front of everyone in the boxing fight. I'm worried I'm going to lose money in crypto. But I think that stress tolerance, being able to handle it, is the most important thing. And the pain points that you're talking about, I've had plenty of times. I remember when I was 15, 16 and BlockFi went bankrupt. I lost more than 80% of my net worth. I had a bunch of money sitting there, 6 figures. I was a couple 100,000 at 15, 16. Woke up one morning and it was completely gone. Everything I'd been working the last 4 years for, it was gone. And I was upset, but I wasn't as upset as I imagined losing the money. I was like, I'll freak out whenever. I was just like, it's gone. Crying about it isn't going to bring it back. And what am I going to do? That's when I started my agency. The same day that I lost all of that, and I need money. Yeah. Start a new business, and that's gave me some money to buy in the bear market. So you have these difficult moments, and I think reacting to emotionally doesn't help. like this has happened. I just lost all this money that I've been working years for. Now what? And you realize that you haven't lost the knowledge, you haven't lost your drive. The things that made you those money, you still have those. You may have lost, the product of the work, but you still have all the factors to create more of it. Like, your candles are burnt down, but you still have all the wax. You still have everything to make it, So I think that's important to realize. And, losses just happen. And it's part of the game. And, first thing I thought was, it's going to be a cool story when I make it back. That's the first thing I think framing things like that and like just doing difficult things and me saying, this was a cool story. Like I remember telling you before my fight, it's a cool side quest.
Yes.
Like, building up and doing these difficult things that aren't necessarily necessary brings you the best results. If you just do what everyone else does, you're going to end up exactly like everyone else. That's why I really like doing difficult things. Like I like doing the boxing fight. I like, pushing the business. I like, pushing the health stuff. I, doing a couple day fasts. Like I like doing the things that no one else does when I have no reason to do it. When you're able to put in the difficult work when it's not required, when you can just, cheat and take the easy route, but you take the long route and you put in the hard work, it makes you into the person that deserves it. If you waking up every morning at 4:30, we don't really have to, like, you just become the person that deserves it. If you, do everything right, and you just become the type of person that deserves, the health, the whatever, the money, the status, whatever it is, you do all the right things, you end up just getting it like that. That's just how it works. It's just the delayed inputs. So I think, pain points happen, and there's moments that suck. There's moments that are terrible when I'm waking up and I'm exhausted, but doing it anyway and just to keep going, like sheer grit, the most underrated thing. And you're always going to have a lot on your plate. I think if you want the life, I think everyone glamorizes entrepreneurship. You see all the 14-year-old entrepreneur, you see all the highlights, we're part of the problem with what we post. You see all the cool moments, the cool cars, the nice tables, whatever it is, but you don't see all the terrible moments. So I think entrepreneurship is massively overglorified. The amount of stress that comes with is intolerable for most people. It's a lot of stress. You have a lot on your plate. You have money coming in, you have money going out, you have employees, you have clients, you have investments that are going crazy. And it is a super, super stressful thing. Most people can't handle it, and most people shouldn't. Everyone wants to be an entrepreneur now, which is, I think, is one of the biggest problems, is we're not going to have any plumbers in our generation, bro. Everyone wants to be an entrepreneur, which is cool. Like, I think it's the best career path for the people that succeed. But it's like being an athlete. The top 0.1% of athletes and everything. Everyone else has nothing. So there's a bunch of people that, go into entrepreneurship, we do all that, and they never get the results that they wanted because, luck wasn't on their side. They didn't work hard enough. They didn't have the right information. So entrepreneurship is massively overglorified. Not every kid should want to be an entrepreneur. Like, working a good, honest job has become so overhated, which I think is stupid. Have respect for doctors, lawyers, physicians. These people are the backbone of everything, and not just because they're not driving Lambos and they're in Dubai, whatever. Don't reserve respect. Yeah, it's the life I want, and I'm sure most people do, but they don't understand, the other side of the coin. Every positive comes with a negative as well. If you want to have the personal brand, has a bunch of positives, has a bunch of downsides as well. Working hard and creating a big business has a bunch of upsides. You have a bunch of downside as well, big payroll, big stress, legality issues, international payments, all these type of things that happen that, people don't think about that side. They just see, oh, this is cool stuff, but they understand that all the downsides that come with it, that, it's the burden you have to bear.
It's a pendulum. It's a pendulum, right? It went from everybody wanted to go down their specific career path. Everyone wanted to go to university. It was fine. And then, I don't know, in the last, 8-ish years, this whole online entrepreneur life became extremely glorified, like you mentioned. And now everybody wants to do this pendulum, go to the other side. Thing is, most people, like you mentioned, don't have the facilities for that. And that's okay. We don't all need to want the same thing. I remember I had this very weird construct in my mind where I would talk to people and ask them about their goals or whatever it may be. And if it didn't align with what my goals were, I thought they were dumb. But in reality, I was the idiot. People want different things, right? And that's totally fine. You should do the thing that serves you. I think it becomes an issue if you're doing something that doesn't serve you and you're refusing to take the actions to getting to where you actually want, and then you start to outwardly project the responsibility onto society and other people, so internally deciding that you're either doing the things that are not getting to where you want to get to, or you actually make that change. I think it comes down to responsibility. It's responsibility of, you're not always in control of the cards that you're dealt, or you're not, but you are in full control over how you play those cards. And I think that's incredibly, incredibly important. Dude, yeah, go ahead.
I think people need more ego. I think you talk about responsibility and stuff, but I think people need more ego. Like, I can remember, as long as I can remember, I always just believed I was destined for more. And I think that's contagious to other people. Like, I think that helps with the networking as well, that people can smell that on you. But I've always just thought, I've looked at these incredibly successful guys. I'm like, they're not smarter than me. They don't want it more than me. They're not harder working for me. Like, there's no reason I shouldn't be there. Like, I've never really put anyone on a pedestal. Like, the top guys have always just thought, I can do that too, which I think is super important. Like, if you put these people on a pedestal, you're like saying to yourself that I can't get there. But I remember like being 11, 12, and I was just looking at these top guys and like, I'm going to be there too. And I always just say to them, it's arrogance. But until you get it, it's arrogance when you're not there. But when, you've reached it, then it's self-belief.
Right.
So I've always had that where those guys aren't smarter than me. Yeah. Like, I don't think there's anything that they can do that I can't do. If I put in the work and I do what they did, I can get there too. So I think people need way more ego. Like, no, I don't want to be a shit muncher. I want the best stuff. I want the fastest car. I want the prettiest girl. I want to have the best suite. I want to travel in the best planes. I want to have, the best house. I think more people need more ego. People are too content. And I think, happy but never content. Like, I still want more. I still believe that I'm destined for more. And maybe it's a bad thing to say, but, that's how it is. I believe that I'm destined to go to the top, and I have the actions that follow it. I think you're arrogant if you say, yeah, I need to be a millionaire, but you don't do anything. Yeah. But if you're waking up every morning, you put in the work, and you truly believe that you're destined for it, your actions will follow. Mm-hmm. If you believe you're going to be a world champion, you're going to train like you're going to be a world champion. So I think people need more ego. Like, think highly of yourself. Everything else will follow. Mm-hmm. If you think you're the best, you're not going to eat or do bad things. I never drink, I never eat bad food because I believe my health is the best. I believe that I'm the hardest worker, so I actually do it. So if you have these intrinsic beliefs and you value yourself higher, you're going to treat yourself like it. If you, look at yourself, and I think most people are way too insecure. They just see themselves as someone that isn't successful. And people text me, I'm not disciplined. I'm like, that's where the problem begins. Like, if you're viewing yourself as not disciplined, you're never going to make it. Where, I think you need to view yourself in an egotistical manner, higher than you are. Like, if time is worth $10 an hour right now, value it at 100. And soon that will happen. Like, don't do anything that isn't worth your time. Don't hang around people that aren't worth your time. And just act like you're better than you are, not in a terrible douchey way, but act like you're better than you are, and you'll get that treatment back. If you walk around like you're worth something, people are going to treat you like you're worth something, you'll become worth something. Most people have no discipline. They don't value themselves at all. Like, they just eat bad food and they view themselves as, I'm not a hard worker, I'm lazy, I get the sex, how do I fix myself? I'm lazy. Like, you're looking at yourself as lazy. That's where the problem has come from. If you looked at yourself as someone that was worth a lot, as you viewed yourself highly, even though you might not have the actions to show for it, start doing the right things. If you wake up every morning and you go take an ice bath, you go journal, and you go work for a couple hours, you won't view yourself as a piece of shit anymore. You'll have some respect for yourself and multiply that. Don't view yourself as like, okay, I'm just getting started. Be like, I'm someone that's going to make it to the top, and have the actions that follow it. Most people view themselves completely wrong, and I hate it when I get those messages of, I'm lazy, I'm disciplined, and I'm stupid. Like, please help me. It's like, you're viewing yourself completely the wrong way. There's so many idiots that have made it further than you. Look at the absolute idiot streamers that have made it to the highest levels. They're complete dickheads. They're not smarter than you. They're not harder working than you. Like, there's no reason that you can't make it. There's someone dumber that has a worse hand, that has, is lazier, is stupider, is more competent than you are, that has made it so much further than you. Why can't you?
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Completely.
Both ways. Yeah, like literally both ways. Whether you see yourself as the champ or you see yourself as, worthless piece of shit, you'll take the actions in accordance. I think that's what manifestation is. Like, people try to talk about manifestation in the sense of like, oh, like if you put it out into the universe will get it back. It's like, no, if you genuinely believe these thoughts, whether that you're a champ or that you're a piece of shit, you're going to act in accordance to that thought process. And then because you're acting in a specific accordance, you're going to end up getting those results. So that's like what manifestation actually is, at least in my
Yeah, completely. And I'm so happy that I did that, because I had that mindset, and I have like all the videos of me saying I'm going to do this thing. Yes. I was going through my notes app. I was showing you the notes I wrote for myself in 2020. I was 13 years old at the time, and I have all the inputs that I was doing. Okay, read a book a week, do some push-ups, work. And now it's so cool to look back on that. And although I don't believe in manifestation in like the really hippie sense, I think it is real in the sense that you need to view yourself. And I always viewed myself as someone that was going to make it. Mm-hmm. And I'm so happy I did. And I'm so happy I have those old videos of me in the school bathroom, a couple of years ago, the old notes that I was writing to myself of like, the journey. And I always had that view that I was destined for more, but I worked to fulfill that destiny. And I think I could have written down the notes. I could have filmed the videos talking how I'm going to do it. And if I never took any action, it wouldn't ever happen. And so I think you need that self-belief, and that ego fuels, like, because I view myself so highly, like, I don't want to be the guy that then I disappoint myself. If I don't go work, if I don't go, post, if I don't go to the gym or whatever it is, I'm letting down my own view of myself. And you can't lie to yourself. If you every time say you're going to go to the gym and you don't go, you start to not trust yourself. And you start, I'm going to take an ice bath tomorrow, I'm going to work for 3 hours, and you don't. You start to not trust yourself, and you view yourself as less. And people can feel that on you. If you view yourself lowly, people can sense that. But when you're doing the right things and you prove to yourself that, you're doing the work. If you tell yourself, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to work, and you actually do it, you fulfill like what you said you would, you start to build trust with yourself. And then I'm going to go work with 3 hours tomorrow, and you actually go do it. You start to trust yourself, and you start to set goals and actually do them. And I think that is so, so important, is to build trust with yourself. And most people break that trust. Okay, I'm not going to watch porn for a month. The next day they're watching porn. I'm not going to eat fast food. You start to break this trust to yourself. You said you weren't going to do it, and you don't have the discipline to stick with it. And it becomes a negative spiral, and you need to break that. And it takes discipline to break that. But the more you lie to yourself, you tried NoFap 20 times and you failed 20 times. 21st time, you're actually less likely to make it, is because you stop believing in yourself. You've already lied to yourself so many times. So fix that. Don't keep relapsing on fast food, on porn, on social media, whatever it is. Build some trust in yourself and start with the little things. Don't immediately go to, I'm going to go to the gym 7 days a week. Start with 3 times a week and prove to yourself that you can do that. And be like, 3 times is easy. Okay, stick with it for a month and see. And build up from there. Okay, I'm going to work on my business just for half an hour today. I'm just going to build the landing page today. Do something easy. Set sizable goals and start to build trust in yourself. Because once you trust yourself, you have confidence. And people can smell that on you. And that's what brings you to the highest levels, is truly believing in that when you say something, you're actually going to go do it.
That's a really, really good point to bring up in just terms of building up these really great habits. Because, yeah, man, I think a lot of people, when they come in, they try to do everything all at once, and they're trying to do it at the highest capacity because they'll see someone like you and they'll see your daily schedule and they'll try to do the exact same thing. It's like, dude, if you just made your bed every day for the next week, you're already making progress. And then that feedback loop actually spirals in an upward spiral, like you mentioned, and eventually they're able to continuously add in a little bit, and going from 3 times a week to 4 times a week, going from doing ice baths a week, 1 ice bath a week to 2 to 3, and continuously developing in that sense. Because making a massive shift in multiple areas of your life all at once, when you don't have the confidence to know that you can make those shifts, is basically a surefire way that you don't succeed. You almost have to hold yourself back from doing too many things in the beginning, so it becomes habitual versus motivational.
Yeah, I think a big problem, and something I used to suffer from, was like all or nothing.
Yeah.
Like you go to the gym 7 times a week and you're eating completely healthy, and then when people miss a day, then they just completely like, I might as well just eat McDonald's for the next month, and I'll start again on the first next month. It's like, no, you've gone to the gym 5 times this week, you're on the right path. Like, no, I'm going to work on my business every single day. And you're doing, 3-4 hours every single day, you're working hard, and then you miss a day, you're feeling sick, or you just, had an off day. It's like, okay, I failed already. But like, no, it's not all or nothing. Like, if you go ahead and work 30 minutes a day, that's also fine. Like, keep consistent with it and have at least something to show for it. And I think that the 30-second rule that people talk about is like, just go and stop for 30 seconds. And you end up working for half an hour there anyway, and a longer time anyway. Just at least do something. And that all or nothing was something I suffered from a lot. I would be doing like really, really hectically, like training, health, whatever it was. And then I'd miss a day, be like, oh, I failed. Like, I was meant to go every day, I failed now. Might as well just take the week off or whatever. But I failed now and come back tomorrow. And you've gone 6 times that week. That's a complete win. So I think that all or nothing is super dangerous. I think a lot of people have it with NoFap and things like that. Like, they have their streak going. And I used to be into all that. And I think most young people, every successful person I've gone to, it's really taboo to talk about. Well, we've all been there. And you're on like a 20-day streak, you fail. Like, fuck it, okay, might as well fucking bust 10 times. Like, that's not how it is. Like, okay, this whole month, you're winning on one, like, get it all out of the system and start a new streak, which I think is a perfect analogy for it. And it's the same with work, with fitness, whatever it is. Like, once you've failed, like, that isn't a complete fail. Like, you've still, like, look at what you've done.
Yeah.
Don't go, now, okay, you want a diet, you ate KFC, now just eat KFC, McDonald's for the whole month, and you can start again next year. January 1st, we can try again. Like, it's a complete wrong mindset. And people wait for these important dates, the first day of the month, the first day of the year, till the full moon's out. I've heard all the crazy things like, I'll start after school. There's always going to be a good reason to not do something. There's always like, oh, but it's holidays now, or like, oh, my ankle's a bit sore, or like, oh, I've got a bit of a cough in my chest, or like, I'm still in school, I'll wait till the holidays. Holidays come around, and it's like, oh, but I'm traveling, whatever it is. Like, there's always a good reason to not do it, but there's always a good reason to do it as well. So there's never going to be the perfect time where there's nothing on your calendar, like no tests, you have no school things, you have no family obligations. Oh shit, I got my uncle's birthday next week. Like, I can't really lock in yet. Like, you can always think of a reason to not do it, and you'll always find one. And you just need to be like, it's never going to be perfect. Might as well just start. Like with the podcast. Yes, they were on the beach. We're going for a cold swim, and I tell you should start a podcast. Within 24 hours, you're recording your first episode. That's raw action. I respect that so much. Because every other person that you're talking to start a podcast, yeah, that's a good idea. A week later, hey, how's everything going with the podcast? Yeah, I like the idea. I'm working on it. 2 months later, it's like, I actually really like it. I've been thinking about it a lot. This is a good idea. I should probably start one. 6 months later, they still have nothing to show for it. So, I think that's what separates you from the shit munchers is really just raw action. I think everyone has that everyone has the same ideas. Everyone wants to start a business. Everyone wants to make money. Everyone has some type of discipline. But, the people that make it to the highest levels are the ones that literally just have raw action. They take an idea. I want to start this business. A week later, what's happening? Whereas the guy's like, I want to start this business. A week later, website's made, first clients, we've got signed, everything. It's like, just move quicker, especially with the young guys that have made it really far. It's just, they operate at such a quick level that it's ununderstandable for most people. That I have this business idea, I want to do this, I want to start this agency. Within the first week, website's made, the whole topic proposal, like everything is done. And it's just outreach. And you start, earning from that. That it can happen so much quicker than you think if you actually just do everything right and you just actually act on things. And Napoleon had that as well. He would have ideas and he would either instantly say yes or no. And Warren Buffett does the same. Invest, have hundreds of millions in this business. It's either instantly yes or instantly no. You just want to think about it. And that takes a lot of mental space, is having this, I kind of want to start this business. I kind of like investing in this project, and just kind of thinking about it. It's either, yeah, I'm doing it, and you go start taking action towards starting it, or not. But that middle ground of not taking any action, but also not clearing it from your headspace is the worst. Because you're thinking about starting a business, you're thinking about, adding this new feature to your product, but you're not actually doing it. Either, no, I'm not adding that, don't look back. You've made your decision, stick with it, think logically about it. Or, yeah, start taking action. Most people said, yeah, I want to start a business, but there's no action, there's no steps coming. So, yes or no, and if yes, this, and this. If no, next thing.
It's mental masturbation.
Completely.
That's all it is.
That is.
And that's the issue. It's not only mental bandwidth that's going away from either taking action on it or disposing it as something that you're not going to do, but it gives you the feeling like you're being productive by thinking about this thing instead of just doing it or not doing it, but like making a decisive decision on it. Something that you hit on that's really, really, really important as well, I feel like, is when you're dealing with these types of people, how have you been able to filter out the types of people that you bring in? Because you got incredible friends that I want to be doing a little podcast episode with as well here, but you've been able to create such a great tight circle of very high level achieving people while being able to kind of put yourself in a different situation than the rest, right? So like, how are you able to filter out the people that are coming into your life and decide if it makes sense for you to give them time, to give them that mental bandwidth, or to completely cut them out?
I think I'm really lucky because I have the same friend group when I was 6 years old to the ones I have now. I have a very, very tight friend group, and I've kind of been at the same school for so long, and it's also come through that. But it's guys that we're very lucky that we're on the same journey. I think statistically that it's not usually like that when you have in school, you have a couple other friends that are also on it in business, health, and that, want to go to the highest levels. I think you just need to find people on the same path as you. It doesn't matter if they're 10 steps ahead of you or 5 behind you. If you're still on the same path, you're walking that path together. Mm-hmm. And although I have friends that are super much more successful, billionaires, and I have also guys I met online that are just starting out, but they're still on the same path and they still respect and they're still putting themselves through the fire. That's what I respect. I don't really want to be friends with someone that has no ambition, that although you don't have anything to show for it yet, you're doing the right things. And I think that's super important. And, it's just people that you can be yourself with. You can, talk about what you want to talk about. Like, I enjoy talking about money, like self-development. Like, I don't want to go talk about, this celebrity just did there. Like, I don't like that stupid shit. And I think, I don't want to be around people that value that the value, Kylie Jenner's new makeup look, like, who gives a fuck? Mm-hmm. Like, I want to value people that are on the same path as me and that have the same goals. If you're on the same path, you benefit so much. Because I can ask, like, hey, okay, how did you solve this problem? Or like, what payment process are you using? Just, if you're on the same path, you have mutual goals, but you also have like mutual interests. You can talk about the same things, and we're both seeing the same news about whatever this guy did or whatever entrepreneur. We watch the same guys, all of that. We can talk about that, and you just need someone to relate to. If all you like is football, then your friends also going to start. You're going to be your friends, people that talk about football, the Champions League games, whatever it is, and you just want to curate a circle of people that can show you some type of value, that you have a good time with, and that you can trust and have loyalty with. And I think I'm lucky that I've had same friends for so long. Is that we have a track record of 10 years of how we've been boys. We've been through everything from our first girlfriends to whatever, the first time we're going out, like the first business. I had a friend behind the camera that had his a physical shop at 13 years old.
Insane.
And I was the first customer for that. I went and I supported it, and we were the first person to buy a shoe from there. And now when I'm doing my own thing, there's that they come support me. So I think I'm lucky in that sense. But even friends that I haven't known forever, like you and your whole group, amazing guys, and you're on the same path as me, although I haven't known you forever, I love being here. We're spending time, we're doing cool things, and we're on the same path, and we both, have certified things that we've done. You've done these things in business, I've done these things in business, and it's not just all talk. Everyone can come and talk, but we've actually done things in business. And I think, you want to have a winning circle, and it's the most underrated thing massively. I want to ask you about crypto, because you earn a lot from your business. I want to hear your thoughts on why don't you have more crypto?
Very simply put, I don't know enough. I don't like making investments about things that I don't understand enough about. And I'm also in a stage right now of business where I feel like I can get more back from dumping it back into the business or potentially having reserves for whatever reason. And this just might be my ignorance due to the crypto market. But I guess when you know a lot about a specific thing, okay, if I put in this, I'm going to get this return. It's easier to continue playing that game versus something where you don't know enough about it. And I think it's just lack of education. Like, that's basically...
You can fix that. Lack of education is something easy to fix. And my simple bull thesis on why I love crypto so much is because what's the alternative? Fiat, worth nothing. Guaranteed to lose.
Right.
Guaranteed to lose 8 to 12% inflation on your money. So if you hold in fiat, you're guaranteed to lose. So the other alternative is Bitcoin, which historically has always made higher lows. Of course, there's fluctuations, but I'd want to bet on something that is variably scarce, that I don't need trust. I think after 2020, everyone's trust in the government has gone down massively. We've seen so many things that make me think that, what the hell? And if you actually look into money, which was something that I always had so much fascination about when I was younger, reading books like The Creature of Jekyll Island and understanding how money is actually made, it is literally worthless.
Yeah.
And it is guaranteed to become worth and worth less. But what happens when inflation happens? Yeah, the value of money drops, but what really happens is the value of your energy diminishes. If you work for $10 an hour, and that's what you're doing, you work at however many hours and you save up this money, and in 1979, $1, the equivalent now is worth 3 cents. It is on a level that compounds massively.
Yeah.
So you're guaranteed to lose money, and what happens in inflation is they're robbing energy from you. The time you're putting in, wages never keep up with inflation. The amount of years it now takes to buy a house is so much higher than it was back then. So inflation, not only eroding the value of fiat, but you're robbing people of the energy of the work they're putting in. It is crime. Inflation should never be allowed. In standard economies, they should have 2% interest ideal because, people holding on to money. There's a whole economic reason behind it. But really what inflation is robbery. And I'm against that. I'm against big institutions to be able to print money. It's not even governments that print money. Big banks that print money through lending out. And the fractionalized reserve banking, fiat is basically worthless. And we've seen how it's corroded massively in the last 4 years. And I think it's only going to get worse. So why would I bet on something that is guaranteed to lose or something that has an opportunity of winning?
Right.
And we've seen historically how it has been winning. So my challenge to you is, even if you don't understand anything about it, take 10%, 10% of your net, and literally just put it into crypto. And I think you'll look back and you'll be happy you did. And if everything goes to shit, I can have, this is why I love crypto. I can be stranded naked in the middle of the Congo. If I have access to Wi-Fi, I have my seed phrase, I can literally go in, I can access any computer, and I can access hundreds of thousands instantly.
Right.
I don't need my phone, I need anything. I can look in some old Nokia phone and I have money. I don't need anyone's permission. I don't need anything. I have money wherever I am. I can access it. You can fucking drop me in the middle of the Sahara. If I find any type of internet, any type of device, I have access to money. You just need your seed phrase and you're there. I can instantly send $10,000 wherever it is. And how powerful is that? That you have access to money wherever you are. You don't need anything. You don't need your own phone. It can be someone else's phone. It can be whatever it is. You have access to money that is variably scarce. It's never going to be more than 21 million Bitcoin. And say 2 million have already been lost. Old ledgers, people have forgot their seed phrases, only really 19 million. And a lot of it isn't even moving. So it might be even more that has been lost. So I think crypto, the more I look into it, and I've always loved it, and I think a lot of it is distrust in systems, distrust in big people. I don't want single points of failure like there are in the fiat system. There's single points of failure. If the US money becomes worthless, it becomes worthless completely. If, foreign countries start accepting US dollars, because when the US prints money, it harms other countries much more than the US itself, because the money mostly stays within the US. And other countries, their reserves are in US dollars. If you're Nigeria, if you're whatever random country, if you're Japan, you're holding because it's the world reserve currency, you're holding your reserves in US dollars. So when the US inflates 10%, your reserves are worth 10% less. All other countries are starting to hate America because this is the backing of the world. This is what, we're forced to, we have a petroleum-based dollar, we're forced to buy, petrol and oil and gas in dollars, and all these things. When that stops happening, what is the value of the dollar? Only value of the dollar is, trust in the government. And even, the treasury bonds, all of that is literally just, you trust that the government isn't going to fuck things up massively. And I don't want to trust. I want to know for certain. I think they might be doing everything right now. People think America is going to shit in the next 50 years. They're still the big dog, and they're going to be for a while. I think they're on the way down, but it's not going to happen as quickly as we think. But I don't want to have trust. I want to have trust that one single person can mess up everything. That's why I like a decentralized ledger like Bitcoin. I don't need a trust that my Bitcoin is going to be there. I don't need to trust any single institution to care of it for me. I have it. I have the seed phrase. I have control of it. I can see the whole ledger. It's public and it has accountability. You know what happened when, on the day of 9/11 is you had $2 trillion go missing in government spending. And conveniently, the accounting records that hold that, a plane flies into that and all the accounting records are lost. Although it might not be an inside job, might be crazy coincidence maybe, is that, the plane hits and all the papers that had the records, all of that are burned down. But Bitcoin is a public ledger. I can see exactly what's happening. If governments really were as honest as people think, they'd put everything on the blockchain. We can see, okay, 15 billion spent to hospital care. How is that split? Okay, this goes to taking care of infants. This goes to developing new medicine. Everything is public. It's a public trust record. And there's no need to trust. I don't need to believe that, you're spending money on what you're doing. I can see, I can follow the money. You can see a paper trail. And if governments were honest and they could say, okay, this much going to defense, this much is going to Boeing, this much going to Lockheed Martin, we're buying this many tanks, it should be public, but it's not. Because everyone is taking little cuts. There's all the shady things happening. Of course, that's why they don't want it public. If they really were as good as they say, they'd put everything on the blockchain, have everything transparent. That's why I love crypto so much. You don't need to trust. And you can verify yourself. You can check every transaction and, who's that going to, who's that from. Although you don't have names, you can see and interact with everything. And I love crypto for that reason. No need to trust. And it's a guaranteed, I really believe it is digital gold. And I think every very, very intelligent person I talk to loves it. And that makes me more and more bullish on it. And I'm happy that I have the risk appetite that, for me, Bitcoin is a stable investment. Compared to all the meme coins and things like that, when I sell back into Bitcoin. I don't sell back into stables, which, although, it's provided me way better returns and also has a lot more risk. But for me, Bitcoin is stable. But my risk appetite is crazy, of course, because meme coins and, altcoins that go crazy. For me, Bitcoin is stable. For most people, that's crazy. But because, you don't have instant, 80% swings like you do have on altcoins with Bitcoin now. And although the returns are less than altcoins, for me, Bitcoin is stable. For me, it is like US dollars. I hold everything basically. If I take profits, I sell back into Bitcoin and send it back into stables. Especially this time in the bull market, I want as much exposure as possible. And stables like Tether, they have their own problems. And you're basically sidelined if you take profits into stables. If you take profits back into ETH and Bitcoin, you still have downwards potential, but you also have a lot of upwards potential of taking those profits and keep compounding.
Dude, something that you hit upon with crypto that, one side of it is obviously the risk, but I think people just don't realize that the less control they have, the more that they're hedging their bet that the government wants what's best for them. I think over the last couple of years, people have trusted it less and less and less.
I think if people read and understood what fiat really was, there would be a revolution tomorrow.
Right.
I think if everyone understood how worthless the currency really is, people wouldn't work for it. Literally, it's not government that prints most money. Private institutions make most of the money through fractional reserve banking.
Federal Reserve, right?
And even the Federal Reserve is not, they named it something very federal. It sounds like it's part of the government. It's not a branch of government. And in the Creature of Jekyll Island, they talk about it when Jerome Powell of the Fed sits in Congress. It's not actually part of Congress. It's like having foreign royalty there. It's like having the Prince of England sitting there. America has no real control over that. And the Federal Reserve was founded on Jekyll Island by a group of 20 Mongols, basically, all the top heads in banking. It is not a government institution. And although they have very close ties, it isn't an actual federal bureau. Like, the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, that's part of the government. The Federal Reserve isn't a branch of government, and by far the most powerful, because all the money from everywhere in America comes from that institution, and it isn't government controlled. You don't vote for who's in control of the Federal Reserve. You vote for the president, and even then it's debatable. But the whole thing, you don't actually have as much power as you think. And I think if people realized what money really was, people wouldn't save their whole lives away for it. And it's a complete mockery of the people, the good, honest, hardworking people, to have such high inflation that eats away at their energy that they're expending for work. Because most people don't have the leverage that we have. We don't really trade time for money, but most people, this many hours is worth this much money. And inflation erodes that. your energy is worth less, your actual life force that you're giving up for work. People literally just give up 8-9 hours a day. Hardworking, good, honest people, and inflation and fake money completely erodes that. I think, if we had, back in the gold reserve, they had to get off of that because it was too evenly distributed. Where if you have fake money, it all gets filtered to the top through interest, through loans, everything gets sucked back up right to the top.
So, dude, you hit something super important here, which is leverage, right? Like, you can't outbeat inflation through a regular wage job. You can't. You just can't. In terms of buying power and spending power, it's basically impossible. But there are a couple different types of leverage. You're obviously talking about one right now, but you're the one that showed me Millionaire Fastlane, and he talks a lot about that. So I think it'd be super helpful for people to know what are the types of leverage and how can they tap into it.
Yeah, I think Naval talks about leverage really well. I'd recommend everyone to watch How to Get Rich Without Getting Lucky. One of my favorite shows I've watched probably 10 times. That'd be more like every couple months I watch that. But you have different types of leverage. First off, you have leverage through employees, which is actually my least favorite type of leverage. I always dislike having employees. I've never had employees. I've worked with agencies, and I've always just had an average experience. And for me, it's because they don't understand the vision like I do. When I hire someone, even editors and things like that, they never understand this, like how I want it to turn out. And if, providing work for clients, etc., or, whatever outsourcing I'm doing, I've always never had a great experience because no one sees the vision like you see the vision. And I'm a bit of a perfectionist. Like, this is how I want it to be. And those guys just can't understand it. And I've always liked to do things myself, but at some point it becomes very difficult to be doing everything yourself. So you have to outsource. It doesn't matter if I'm working with agencies or employees. And these are all forms of leverage that, other people's time you get leverage. But I've never really liked that. So I think better ways of leveraging is to leverage your money, first of all, is that you can invest in software, whatever, to replace whatever you're doing. And compound that. If you're earning, say, $1,000 and you invest in that, you're earning 10%, you're earning $100, just fuck all. But if you're investing 100 million and you earn 10%, that's 10 million. You've had the exact same return, but 10 million is actually worth something, whereas the $100 is nothing. So I think you have leverage through money, through people, but you also have leverage through content. You make one piece of content and it can be viewed 1 million times. And I think that is the most powerful form of leverage now, is this digital type of leverage, in the sense that if you create this YouTube video, we've spent now 2-3 hours, whatever it is, gonna edit in, whatever it is, make this video, but for all of eternity, that video can be viewed and you're earning every single time. Whereas if you're trading your time for money, you put in 1 hour, you earn 1 hour. And if you want to earn another hour, you need to work another hour. Whereas the best forms of leverage is, say, creating like an info product, is that you work 1,000 hours to create this, and then it sells in perpetuity. You keep earning monthly income from it. Like creating Uber. They created this amazing app. They spent so much time working. Of course, they still have maintenance and things like that, but it's a lot of upfront time and you get returns constantly. And that's the way to do it. You want to have something where you invest a bunch of hours without earning anything. You invest a bunch of hours into your business. Before you earn anything, you invest a bunch of hours into writing a book. But now every single week that book sells and you keep earning money from it. You don't have to write a new book every time. That's leverage, is that you do something once in terms of money, time, other people's energy. You invest upfront, and investing time is easy, especially for the young people watching this. You have time. You have so much time. So invest hours into either learning a skill, that's leverage, but invest hours into a business and an upfront investment of 1,000 hours or whatever it is, where you keep earning on that. You don't need to work another 1,000 hours to earn again. And that's the way to do it. If you have time for money, this is zero leverage. Because in order to earn another month's wage, you need to work a whole nother month. Whereas if you work for 3 months, you earn nothing. All of a sudden, you're earning a month every week. And you keep earning. You don't have to work another 3 months every time. I think that's the best definition of leverage, is understanding that it's an upfront investment of time, energy, resources, whatever it is, but it keeps paying off and you don't have to keep making that same trade every time. One big upfront payment to keep receiving.
Yeah, this is such a good point, because a lot of people talk about passive income, and that's basically what leverage allows you to have. Yeah. But their inputs are still based on what they're used to of trading their time and money, right? Time for money. So they'll do a very small amount of inputs, and because they're used to getting money right out of it, they want to do that same work for something that's going to take way more upfront investment for them to be able to generate that passive income. So it's very skewed in terms of the inputs are required for them to be able to have that type of leverage. And, your story with content's a perfect example of this. I think like that in itself is such an insane story, what you've been able to build online here with your social media, getting shut down, rebuilding it. Like, what was that journey like for building that type of leverage?
Yeah, I think content is a cool thing. I think it has its benefits, it has its downsides, but content is such a powerful of leverage, because you spend a couple hours making a video, but I have videos with, hundreds of thousands of hours of watch time. So I've spent so many hours making this content, but it keeps getting views in perpetuity. I think it's a perfect example of leverage, is that personal branding, not only did I used to earn off the info product, which was really nice for content, right now I earn zero off content directly. I have nothing to sell you. I have no mentorship, no courses, no nothing. I create content, to network. It helps massively. I wouldn't be able to reach all these high-level guys if I didn't have some type of digital resume. That's really what personal branding is this digital resume of who are you, what do you do, and it's the front basically of your Instagram, your TikTok, your YouTube is basing insight into who you are. So if you're meeting with top-level people and they can see, okay, this guy's got a good resume, a good personal brand going, this is who he is, this is what he's done, he's shown all these things, that's super powerful. So I think for networking, it's super important. But the content journey is very similar to business. Starts off really slow, and then you get a win, and you start compounding on that. And most people get a win, and they really understand why they keep going. I used to always just sit down. I posted every day on TikTok for 2.5 years and never missed a day, which is extremely difficult. I was doing all the videos myself, all the ideas myself, all the editing myself. I was doing everything because I wanted to learn the inputs of it. And I would look at a video that did well, and most people, they never analyze it. I would look exactly with that video. What font did I use? What sound? What length was the video? What was the retention? Why is there so many comments on this video relative to the other ones? So analyze exactly what you're doing. Most people have no personal feedback. So I would look at the videos that got the most views. What did I do right? And replicate that over and, test it, split test, A/B, literally like business would. You need to analyze content that same way. And a video that flopped. Why did this do so badly? Was the video too short? Was it too long? Were the captions bad? Was the hook bad? Did it use the wrong type of clips? Did it use the wrong sound? There's so many things to look at, and there's so many little things that you can implement that help your views so much. You need watch time, which is super important. And adding little things, I always use just before the best part of the song, because people want to listen. They have that slight dopamine payoff of, the best part of the song. That increases retention better. Have really clean subtitles that look like the native subtitles of that platform. So I use always just a white text with a slight black outline, similar to what TikTok is by definition. If you just could type on TikTok, and that's exactly the same font that I use in editing app. Just so everything, so there's the least possible resistance for them to scroll off. So have a good hook, of course. Everyone knows the basics of it. But social media, most people need to analyze, what did I do that did well, and what did I do that did not do well. I think same in business, same in all aspects, is actually analyze and spend time. Most people will spend so much time editing when the real leverage and the real information, the learning points come from analyzing. Okay, you did this. What did you do well? What did you not do well? And people obsess over all these little things, but they don't take a step back to analyze, okay, what's happened? I've been posting every day now for 3 months, and it's okay, keep pumping out content. But you'd be better taking a day off and then just looking at every single video. What did well? What did not do well? Why are the shares in this video so good compared to the other one? Try to optimize for all those little things. And was it the relatability? Was it, the joke that I said halfway through? Whatever it is, analyze it properly and understand the components, because everything is inputs and output. So if you know exactly the formula to these videos work, and I have the same type of videos that I know work really well. And so ones everyone has really seen was the one, the date at the top. Why does that work? I figure out why that works is because people know there's going to be a payoff. If I have the clip of me talking in 2021, subconsciously they know, okay, it's going to cut to current moment. And they want to see that cut to current moment for the dopamine spike. So their retention is really, really good. All these little things that I learned from my most viral videos, from sounds to whatever it is that you need to actually analyze the content. You can't get good at anything without analyzing. It's the same with top sportsmen. Everyone trains super hard, but what makes the best guys the best is they watch game tape. They watch themselves, okay, why is my balance so to the left here? Why is it that so to the right? If you're reviewing your own sales calls, I'm sure you learned that the sales process, you never really get good if you're not internalizing and watching yourself. Watch your own videos. People hate watching their own videos. No one likes hearing their own voice, etc. But you need to spend time analyzing it. The same with talking. I watch through all the podcasts I do. Why was I using filler words here? What word could I use better there? I think people need to analyze more. People just do action, but you're not actually learning. If you keep refining and keep learning, your actions become so much more potent and become more and more targeted. So analyze your videos. What worked? What didn't work? Why did it work? Why didn't it work? And you actually understand. That's how you build a real knowledge base. And your actions you take are based off the knowledge base you had with going back to the beginning. If you have this massive knowledge base of how the algorithm works, when you refer back to it, it's going to be so much better. Your actions are going to be so much more targeted because you know the right information, because you analyze yourself. You saw what worked, you saw what didn't work, you know what to avoid. So your actions then are going to be so much better. Your videos are going to be better. Your business is going to be better if you're actually learning from yourself.
Everybody hears this quote, and it's basically what you're explaining, but the magic that you're looking for is in the work that you're avoiding. But that's basically what you just said, right? Because everybody wants to have, at least anyone that's tried to do social media, they want to have these crazy social media brands where they get 1 million followers and they're able to connect with all these people, but they're not willing to do the work in terms of the inputs and or the reflection. And both are required. It's like A plus B equals C. You want C, but people won't do A or B. Or sometimes they'll do A but not B. It's like you need both. You need to do the inputs and you need to be reflective. I see all the time people do like a blitz on social media. They'll post 30 videos in 30 days. I'm like, it's the exact same video. There was no reflection. There was no insight.
No improvements.
No improvements. Yeah. Like, think about chemistry. There's always a manipulated variable, and there's a controlled variable, and then there's obviously the resulting variable. But if you don't know what you're controlling, and you don't know what you're testing out for, what KPIs you're tracking, how are you supposed to make any progress? It's completely luck, and you don't want to rely on just luck.
Yeah. And you have different types. Like, you have blind luck, where you win the lottery, that's blind luck. And you have that sometimes in social media. People just record something and it just blows up.
No.
But blind luck, you can never account for that. And I wanna trust in what I'm doing. I value trust a lot. So I want to know what I'm doing is going to work. And you have this blind luck where you just post a video, you win the lottery. Mm-hmm. And same business, you just absolutely just everything, just blind luck. But you also have positional luck where you were in the right niche at the right time. You were in crypto in 2013. Although it's luck, it's position luck. You put yourself in the position to win. I think people focus on blind luck way too much of like, okay, lottery winners, people that just have crazy stories and everything just fell into place perfectly. You can't control that. But position luck is what you can control. If you reach out to clients every single day, it's not luck when a client says yes. If you made 1,000 calls, it's because you put yourself in the position to put 1,000 calls, and you put yourself in the position to get into an investment really early. That's position luck. And blind luck you can't control, but position luck, it is just sheer volume. Mm-hmm. If you keep posting videos and you keep doing everything right, the luck will come. Of course, there's some luck aspect in business, in life, in crypto, in everything. There's a position of luck that you can't negate. But the more input you put in, the more positioned you are, the higher that luck factor that it happens is. If you're doing 1,000 calls, you're more likely to get a yes than if you're doing 3 calls. You might get lucky and get one more than the 1,000 guy does. But in the end, you're building the skills with positioned luck. You're getting the right insights and you're in the place to win. You can't get rich if you're not in the right position. People are sitting at home doing nothing. It's never going to happen like that. The blind luck just doesn't happen. The position luck does. If you're doing everything right and everything hits, you got lucky. But you didn't really, because you put yourself in the position to get lucky. Most people aren't even on the field. Most people are sitting on the sidelines, watching. They're doing absolutely nothing. You have no chance of winning if you're not even playing. And those are the people that complain.
They're judging the people that are actually playing the game.
I don't know. His left foot isn't that great. Whatever it is. Yeah. Like, you need to put yourself in the position to win. Most people don't do that. Most people are sitting on the sidelines and their positioning is horrible. If you want to get wet, you need to be in the river. When the storm comes and everything's coming, if you're well positioned, it happens. And I noticed that so much with crypto was my positioning was incredible. I was in the right time at the right place. And yeah, I got lucky. But if I was never in crypto, I would have never gotten lucky. Right. So most people are sitting on the sidelines and like whatever it is. But I put myself in the position to win. So when I won, I wasn't all that surprised.
And dude, you're not like other crypto guys either, right? Because there's a difference between putting $50 in Come Rocket and it just blows up and you make fucking 80.
But then they lose it, guaranteed to go back to zero because you haven't learned the skills. I know all these guys that hit crazy licks of meme points, guys that have put in $100 and they exited for $3-4 million, 15, 16. Yeah. Within 6 months, they've blown it all because what they learned was that investing in a shitcoin and going crazy is how I made money. So they tried that again. And this time, instead of investing $50, they're investing $50,000. Goes to zero, goes to zero, goes to zero. Luck. The blind luck hit. They didn't have position luck. They hit that blind luck lick, and now they never know how to do it again. It's because it wasn't up to them. It wasn't their great decisions that made them their money. It was blind luck. And they try to recreate the blind luck. Most lottery winners, they go back to buying the lottery. They think, I won it once, I can win it again. It's never going to happen again, buddy. Like, you hit your lick, use that, get skills, whatever it is. But they're sitting on a bunch of money with no skills, no nothing. So they're going to go straight back down to where they came from. Is because they didn't have the journey of actually getting there. They didn't learn anything. They didn't learn how to look at the markets, analyze coins, tokenomics, all of that. They hit blind luck, and they all lose it straight away. So everyone's hoping for $50 in this shit going, please, Shiba, next day Shiba Inu, whatever it is. And you keep begging for that. But even if it does happen, like, I'm different. I wouldn't lose it. All lottery winners think that, but in the end you lose it because you're not used. You're not the person that deserves those millions. You don't know how to spend it. You don't actually know how to invest. And you're going to go back to what? You're going to go back to buying lottery tickets.
Dude, Hormozi talks about this so well, which is if you could think of the best possible version of yourself, the version of yourself that you can look at and be like, that is my character maxed out in all stats. What difficulties would you put them through for them to be able to build up the skill set and the knowledge base to be able to become that type of person? And that's why some people go in and they'll make $3 million off a couple $100 investment in crypto and then lose it all. And then you could lose $250,000 in a week and not even be phased because you built up enough skill sets where you're like, I have the confidence. I know I'm going to make this back. Like, I know the process. I know what I need to do. And it completely dismantles any necessary feeling of feeling like, fuck, it's done, I can never recover, which is where most people spiral down when they start losing after having a winning streak.
And those people have no emotional control. I mean, at least in the quarterfinals, it's like driving a Lambo full speed into a wall, setting it on fire, gone. But most people don't have the emotional control. I think if you've gone through difficult things and you put yourself in positions like to do stressful things, you know how to handle it. I think most people would freak out. They'd either sell it all or try to put it back in and try gamble to win it back. But if you don't have that emotional control, it's never going to work out. Like, you need to actually go through all the separate steps to get that you can handle the big wins, the big losses, else you're way too emotional about it. In the beginning, I was like, I make $100, I'm jumping around the room, fucking let's go. But now I have big wins, and it's like, this was my thesis, it played out, whatever it is. So I think most people need that emotional control, that stress tolerance, all the things we've talked about, they all link together, and there's no secret formula. I think most people want me to hear them say that secret nugget. Like, what was it that made you this much money as a high school or whatever it is? Everyone wants to hear that golden nugget. You can listen to all the podcasts in the world. There isn't a golden nugget. Yes, important to learn all this information. Pay attention to what all these people that are 10 steps further than you have said. Listen to Alex Hormozi, listen to all those guys that know what they're talking about. But there's nothing that they're going to say that's going to flip the switch for you. And I used to have that. I was watching Tate, I was watching Evan. I'm just waiting for, just give me that one little piece of thing that I need. And it doesn't exist. And the sooner you realize that there isn't this one thing that someone's going to say that's going to change everything. You already know most things. Most people are sitting here listening to very basic content. You already know that. It's obvious. You just want that, like, to confirm your thoughts. But there's no golden nugget. Raw action and learning. That's all it takes. Learn from your actions. Why did this video work? Why did this client sign with me? Whatever it is. And then refine those actions and learn from them again. That is the closest you're going to get to the golden nugget.
100%. 100% of that. Dude, I want to shift into what social media has been able to do for you. Because you mentioned both positives and negatives. I think everybody talks about the positives, but what is the other side of having a big social media presence, having a bunch of eyeballs on you? Because, that's a very unique situation that most people can't relate to. So, like, what is actually the backside of that?
I used to not like the idea of that a lot of people are watching you is stressful, but now I really love it. It's because, like, I'm going to put on a show now. Like, watch what I'm about to do. You think what I did now was crazy at 18? Wait till you see what I've done by 20. I like those eyeballs. I used to hate it. But of course you have the downsides. You have a bunch of people that know nothing about you that, comment, or people that are just trying to, like, bring you down. Things like that. Like, I come from a really good family. I'm really lucky to say that. But no, never got a cent from my dad or anyone like that. And they don't see, the tough times. It's like, all the early mornings and things like that you put in. And of course, you get dealt different hands, especially growing up in South Africa. You see, like, you can have absolutely nothing, and it's much more difficult. You're starting 10-0 down. Whereas, if you're born, you have, good Wi-Fi, internet, all of that. Like, you have a massive win over other people already. But in the end, you still need to put in the work. You still need to do everything to get to the certain places. And, you get a bunch of, eyeballs and attention, which can bring negative things. People that just, go up to you, like, in public, there's a bunch of really nice guys. But for every 100 nice guys, there's some dickhead that is like, fuck you, like, scammer, whatever it is. Like, I don't even sell anything. And there's just people that I think make quick assumptions. And I don't blame him. But it's easy to sit on the sidelines and talk, but the players on the field are the ones that are actually, putting in the work, going through the things. And overall personal branding, it's so much more positive than it is negative. For networking, for money, whatever it is really, like, the biggest tool and the biggest leverage play you can do now is, having this personal brand. And the downsides really are just that you have people watching, you have attention. And, it can be difficult, but I leaned into liking that. It's like, you're watching me, okay, watch me put on the show then. Like, I'm going all out. Like, I'm going to do all this cool stuff. I'm going to do the boxing. I want to do a bunch of fitness stuff now that my back is healed. I want to crazy stuff with crypto. I want to send projects to 100 mil plus. Like, I want to do all these cool things. And the eyeballs on me, I don't really mind. I think it has downsides, of course, and it's sometimes super annoying. Like, and I'm not famous, bro. Like recording on Instagram isn't crazy. It's good. But you still get people, especially in Cape Town, come up to you a lot. And sometimes it's nice, but sometimes it's annoying. Like, I'm just like, fuck it, I'm like just going to the shops or whatever. And it's like, you always have to kind of keep up that image, like, you constantly have to live up to people's expectations, which I kind of like. But it keeps you accountable, which I like. So I can't now go post stupid shit. It's because I built up this brand and I like that because it keeps me accountable. I'm not only accountable to myself, which is more than enough for me, but a quarter million people on Instagram also watching, and it keeps you accountable from doing all the stupid things, from doing whatever it is, and it keeps you in line, I think, and I like that a lot.
It's the environment that breeds success.
Completely. High pressure, like a pressure cooker. And so I'm in constantly. And I like that. And I have my time. I don't think I'm going to be on social media forever. I think at some point I'm just going to disappear. 22, whatever it is, like, literally just stop posting. Once I've given all the knowledge that I want to give, once I've told all my stories, and maybe I'll just turn on the camera once in a while and just spit games to the camera. But I've no need to. Right now, I'm in this stage of gathering attention, and I like it. I think it's helpful for connections, for networking, whatever it is. But I don't need that forever. I think there's a time where you just step away and just disappear. Just leave all the videos up there, just never post again. And I'm excited for that. No time soon. I'm still very, very young. I'm still finishing up high school. And I'm excited to be done with school because it frees up so much time. I have a full-time job right now. Like, I can't imagine how much more I can get done with an extra 8-9 hours every single day. That was already, man.
Literally doubles your waking hours.
Yeah, literally.
Insane.
Yeah. And even more because you have like time and you need to eat and things like that. You realistically only have a couple hours of actual work when you have school, and you still need training and all of that. Like, you have like a 3-4 hour slot where you need to get everything done. And the rest of the time is, you have 8 hours of school, you need at least 8 hours of rest, you have an hour to and from school, you have an hour eating, you have at least 90 minutes of gym. So basically, you only have like a couple hours to do work. And when you get ready to school, extra 8 or 9 hours on that, which I'm excited for.
Dude, talk to me about how you were able to connect with Luke Belmar and get this high up in the crypto space as well.
Yeah, so that happened through this hedge fund guy that I was talking about earlier. They're one of the biggest holders in TON, and I got to introduce. Basically, it just happens that I got to introduce Luke to this massive hedge fund guy who's one of the high ups in this crypto project, and I got to introduce this hedge fund guy to Luke. So I literally, with no notice, this is a vlog on my YouTube channel. With literally no notice, I didn't really know Luke before that. I was in this private chat, and I always look up to him. Like, he's one of the guys that is so solid, and he was just in real life as he is in content. I only have great things to say about him. So I got it literally with no notice. I booked a flight, 12 hours notice. I was in the school bathroom, and I texted Luke, hey, this guy's going to be in Dubai. Do you want to meet him? And I texted that guy, hey, do you want to meet Luke? He's a massive influencer, big guy in crypto. I think he's great to meet him. And they both said yes. And, a couple hours later, I'm sitting at a lunch table with both of them. And that's kind of how I introduced him. And it's just basically by providing value. And I'm super excited. I'm going to the Capital Club events now in Bali soon. And I've met a few of the online guys. A lot of them aren't exactly what you would think. But Luke really went out of his way to, even though he's so many stages above me, to go out of his way to be super kind to me afterwards. He took me to the Pudgy Penguin events. He introduced me to a bunch of other guys. I had a dinner with him afterwards. Not only the Gem Hunters dinner, but I sat where I got to meet Arab and Jordan and all these other guys that are all absolute legends. So I think he went out of his way when he didn't really have to, because I'm not the level he's at. And he went and he gave a helping hand. And I think maybe he saw something in me. Maybe, don't know what it was. Maybe he's just a great guy. And I respect that a lot. I think he is one of those guys that I watch his content, you actually learn something. I feel like a lot of stuff is just filler, obvious things. But yeah, I respect him a lot. I think, he's one of the coolest guys in the industry, and he keeps it so real. Like, what I saw in person from him is exactly what you see for content. He lives it. Like, he isn't none of the fake. Like, he lives from the biohacking stuff down to his mindset, down to how he operates. Like, everything is exactly what you would think. And I respect that authenticity so much.
Super rare, bro. Because like you mentioned, like, you'll meet certain people that you've been looking up to online for a while. They don't end up being the same way. But, I want to dissect something you just mentioned here, because it might just sound like super simple. Oh, you knew this billionaire investor and you knew Luke Belmar, and like you just connected them and now they're making a bunch of money and it's because of you. But there's a couple different things that actually went into making that happen. One, you had to have access to Luke Belmar. So talk about that, because I think it's important.
That's because I paid for access.
Exactly.
I invested. I joined his Gem Hunters group, which is like his private. I think you need like over 100K in crypto, and then you can join that. And through that, I had access to him through this. It's pay to play. The same now. The Capital Club events in Bali. Jordan actually recently, Jordan Wells, he sold his company. He sold it to a guy that they met through the last Capital Club events in Spain. And so there's all these high level networks, but it's pay to play. If you want to be in the top circle, like, you should pay. And like, there's nothing wrong with that. I think I paid $15,000 for the Capital Club trip, and I think that's so worth it. It's a lot of money, but it's one of like the biggest single like purchases besides watches and things like that I've ever made. And I think it will inevitably be worth it because everyone else has also paid. The same with in these private communities like Gem Hunters. Everyone else in the community has paid the $3,000, $4,000, whatever the entry was. So it's kind of like a vetted, like it's already like some type of, proof that that they have what they say they have. So I think that's pay to play, how everything is. Same with all the masterminds and things like that, where you meet some super cool people and pay to play. Like, if you can't pay, you shouldn't be in the mastermind anyway. So I think that's how I first. I wasn't friends with Luke before that or anything. Like, I was just joining the Gem Hunters, and then I gave him some value, like, hey, meet the super cool guy, and to the billionaire, like, hey, meet Luke, and that's just kind of how that went through. And yeah, super great guy.
Incredible, man. And I think it's insane. I mean, I think success is very exponential because of key points like that, right? Because you were able to build up, let's say, 100,000, obviously more than that, but $100,000 in crypto. A lot of people would have just, okay, this is like now my college fund, right? Or like, I'm going to put this on a down payment for a house. It's the same amount of money, but you figured out how to leverage it at a higher level, which got you to greater and greater heights, right?
People are too scared, especially to spend and reinvest in themselves. Like spending, like I'm going to Singapore now to go to this Toga 2049 event. Like there's no real money in that for me, but I get to go there and meet with all these top exchanges, top guys in crypto, and I'm spending a bunch of money, had to get a hotel, flights and everything. It's right in the middle of my exams as also it's a complete nightmare, but I put myself in the position to get lucky. I get to meet the top guys, influencers, sign deals with exchanges, sign deals with projects, get teams to collaborate. And I think that's what I love doing. I like that whole networking and meeting people. And I think if you're an impressive person, that people want you around, and people can sense that. And for me, age has always been a selling point. Just because I started so young, that it's always like a point that I can hit on, and the people are like, holy shit, like high schooler, and he's doing all of this. Like imagine in 10 years time. And I like that thought of like all these guys that are ahead of me, saying, you know, that are 30, 35. Like I have 17 years. I'm only even half your age.
Right.
Give me 17 years, watch where I'm gonna be. Yeah. So it like makes me like I see guys doing so much better than me. I want to get there, but it's saying like give it 17 years. If I'm making what you're making right now, I'd be sad. That's how I think about it. But I think people need to be willing to invest in the network, and it is pay to play.
Pay to play. Dude, even what you mentioned here is that people want to see others succeed if they feel like they'll succeed either way. But if they could have a role in their success as well, it almost feeds their own ego. You know what I mean? So like someone that's, let's say, above you, right, in success, if he sees your trajectory, he's like, oh, this kid's gonna make it. Like they want to get involved part of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They want to be.
It's like a winning coin.
Yes.
Everyone has all the attention when you're winning the way up, and I think people just need that initial momentum. Like start winning a little bit. No need to get crazy. Like start with those little wins, and people notice that, and people want to get involved, and it exponentially from the type of people and the level of success that you're gonna get to.
So dope. And a big thing that you also mentioned as well is that you're always trying to provide value.
Yeah.
You don't just expect, well, look at me, man. I made, X amount of dollars in crypto at 17, 18 now, build my personal brand. Like you can come in with this ego, but you come in and you're like, I still need to provide some sort of value.
I'm not there yet. Like people, I had my comments, I actually got a comment this morning, like, okay, you've made it, now what? I'm like, I haven't made it. I'm nowhere near. Like just wait 5 years. Like I'm nowhere near where I want to be. And I think it's never content. Like people think I made it. Like I'm not there yet. There's guys that are doing better than me my age aggregate, and people that are just doing better 20 years older. Like I want to keep going. Like I'm nowhere near where I want to be. I want to keep doing cool shit. I want to keep doing difficult things. Like for me, that's like the greatest sense of happiness is doing difficult things. I think that's the most important thing. Like the boxing match, doing that, it's a difficult thing. I want to climb Mount Everest. I want to, get a business to $1 million a month. These are all difficult things, and people respect when you do difficult things. I had no need to go do those things, but I did them anyway. Doing perfectly in school, I don't really need to, but I do it anyway because it's a difficult thing to do. It builds discipline, and people respect that. People respect people that do difficult things when you don't really have to. If you have to go do it, it's like, okay, you're forced to. But doing all these side quests and leveling up in ways you never really had to. I don't still need to go read every day. I don't still need to go do an ice bath every day. Like I know how to do an ice bath. I've gotten the benefits from it. But to still go do difficult things, even when you don't have to, that's how you really get the respect. That's how you evolve as a person, is just doing difficult shit. I love doing that, and I want to keep doing it. And for me, that's the best sense of happiness. You have quick, cheap happiness, which is just eating burgers, go watching porn up. Like that's cheap happiness. But for me, like the real happiness comes when you've done something difficult. When you've just signed a big client, when you just did the boxing match, whatever it is. Like afterwards, like you're really happy because you put in the hours, you did something difficult, and you've done it. And then the next day, I want to go run a marathon. There's something difficult that I want to do, and like afterwards, I can't wait for the feeling of when you've done it and go into the next thing. And that for me is the coolest thing. It's just doing difficult things.
Because you can't cheat your way through it. You can't pay for it. Something that you just need to do something that most people could not and would not do.
You can't just fucking build a personal brand or build a physique or good health or good knowledge or reading. Like you can't pay to have all the knowledge about all these separate things. Like you need to earn it. You need to earn all these separate things. And that's what people respect the most, is things that you can't cheat. You can't cheat a lot of these things in business. It's not just you can just finesse it, do it in one day. But those things that take long, that are like respectable. I think that I have so much respect for fighters, because then when you have some type of insight into how they work, like how much like difficulty and pain you have to go through, I respect that.
Yeah, they say if you're trying to impress poor people, you outspend them. if you're trying to impress rich people, you outwork them. But it's not even about work in terms of like, oh, I worked X amount of hours. It's about the difficulty of the task that you did. You know what I mean? And how quickly you were to reflect upon the things that you were already doing and actually get into those higher levels. Because I think there's a vanity metric of, oh, I work hard. So, okay, well, the goal is not just to work hard. The goal is to work hard, reflect, and then do more efficient and smarter tasks, and not just continue working hard for the sake of working hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's no actual nobility in just working hard for the sake of working hard if you're not continuously growing.
Yeah, I think do difficult things is just like I want that to be my fucking gravestone.
Yeah.
Like, just when you didn't have to and you go the extra mile, that respects a lot. Like, even at employees and things where like you can always do the bare minimum, just get away with it. Same as school, like you always just get by, but thrive in everything you do. Like, do it to the maximum extent. If you're gonna work for someone, do it the best way possible. Be the first one to show up, the last one to leave. If you're gonna do everything, like how you do something is how you do everything. Just thrive, whatever it is. In school, push yourself to do the best. Push yourself to push the furthest in the gym, push the furthest in martial arts, push the furthest in social media, whatever it is. Like, thrive. Don't just, if you're gonna do something, might as well do it well. Like, either I don't compete at all or want to compete to win. Like, I don't play silly games. Like, I don't want to. I could go learn to finger skate. Like, I don't finger skate because I don't want to care to do that. But I want to be the best in business. I want to be the best person, man. I want to be the best in boxing. All these type of things. Like, that's what I like. Like, play a few games and play them really well. And most people underestimate how much you can actually do. Like, you can do really well in school. You can do really well in business. You can have the person, man. You can have all the health stuff alongside it. You can have all the networking. You can travel. Now I'm testament to it. I've done all those things, alongside all the other things. So if you just actually focus on a right few games, if you play a few games, you play them really well, the game of business, the game of networking, the game of learning, you do those things well, and you're set. People are playing mediocre levels at too many things. They're really into shoes and they're collecting shoes, but they're also really into music and they love celebrity culture and they kind of like business. You're never going to beat the guy that's just, business is my game and we do the best I can. And I don't like only playing one game. I think you have some great guys that literally just focus, like Musk, business is his game. But, the health aspects and things like that are sidetracked. Like, I'd rather pick 3 or 4 games and have them all benefit each other. My business benefits off my network. My personal brand benefits off my network. My network benefits from my personal brand. And so have all these things bounce off each other and complement each other and just do a couple things and do them really well. Don't just do them, thrive in them, give everything for them, learn everything you can about them. Don't be super spread thin between a million different things where, you know exactly what model shoes or you know exactly what the watches and all of that. But, play a few games and play them really fucking well.
What are your thoughts on this in terms of seasons? Because I agree, you want to have multiple things that you get very good at. And I think whenever you get really good at one thing, you build the skill sets are required to helping you get really good at another thing in the future. But I also believe in seasons where you go really, really hard and you blitz through one specific task or one specific skill set or one area of your life while you're still growing in others. But there's one that you dial in on and then you can kind of take it back a bit and go into another one. Because like the whole idea of balance, I don't think balance needs to happen at the same time. Like, I don't think you need to have everything perfectly balanced throughout the entire year. I think there has to be these high highs in certain aspects, and then you kind of pull back in that specific field while you're going up in a different one. I think that eventually gives you the balance that you're looking for, but you have to have intensity.
I think you find balance in not being balanced. Like, for me, my routine, when I'm in Cape Town, I'm really locked in. It's early mornings, I have school, I have everything done. I'm waking up 4:30, ice baths, doing all the right things. And then usually my time off is a bit when I'm holiday. And the type of work I do in holiday is probably more than the average guy does when they're locked in. But really just when I'm in Cape Town, like it's just monk mode basically, where I'm just really locked in. And then when summer comes around, when I don't have school, when I'm overseas, I enjoy myself a bit more. And I kind of find balance in sprinting, like really I'll go like 3-4 months at a time of just deep focused work and then taking a bit of time off. And I think the balance comes from that. It's not like people try to have balance where they do 2 hours of work, 2 hours of rest, everything, but like you get nothing done. Like there should be periods of 3-4 months where you have sole focuses. Okay, I want to get the business to 100K a month. I want to grow the personal brand to 250,000 followers, whatever it is. Like have those sole goals and chip at them for a couple months. If you're working on too many goals at the same time, you can't be chipping away at this and this and this. Like better to have these periods where you have set goals and really just focus on them and go intense. Like you actually get so much more done from working 4-5 hours a day for a month than you would working 6 months for 1 hour a day. It's just because you don't have the level of response as well. Like the feedback loop is way better when you're working really hard. So have these periods where you're deeply focused and you're deeply working on something, and then have those times where you're more cut back and you're focused on different things. And it's really refreshing. If you're focused on business for a couple months, you step back and now you're more focused on the personal brand. It's nice to have a different type of work. It's less labor intensive, whatever it is, that, enjoy these different things and have these seasons where it's now time to work. Like now is the time to take everything seriously. Now is the time to work, and then have time where, now it's time to enjoy like the fruits of my thing. And it should be balanced however you like it. If you want 6 months, 6 months, I prefer like 10 months, 2 months, really. Like however far you want to get, like however far you want to push it. And depending on how much you do on that off time, really, should set the scale for you. But find balance and not being balanced. Like that's how I like it. I want to be sprinting or I want to be chilling. I think most people are dim lights. They're not on and they're not off. When I'm recording right now, I'm on, work today, everything clipping, I'm going to go gym off this, whatever. I'm on. And then afterwards, I'm off. I'm resting. Phone out, reading, bedtime, chilling. And if you're a dim light the whole time, you never get time to really shine. Yeah. You never get time to really rest. I think most people are dim lights. I don't want to be super bright. I'm focused. I'm working. I'm locked in. Or I'm off. My phone's on do not disturb. Don't leave me alone. I'm just reading. I'm chilling. I'm sitting in the sauna and I'm going to bed. And either be on or off. Most people are in the middle. And the middle is the worst because you're not really resting. You're still tired. You're not really doing anything. You're kind of just half scrolling, half working. You don't get anything done and you don't get any rest. Yeah. Get a lot done, get nothing done.
What you talked about too is being present, right? Like you're saying whatever activity they're in, that's what you're doing. That's what you're focusing on. What most people I feel like do is that they're doing an activity, but they're thinking about the other activity. So they're in the gym, but they're thinking about, shit, I need to get work done for my business, right? They're working on their business, but they're like, shit, I need to be networking right now. They're networking, they're like, fuck, I should be like doing my schoolwork. Like they're always thinking about the next thing that they're supposed to be doing, and they're never fully present in the actual task that they're doing at the time. Versus if you just have blinders on, kind of like horses, right? In races, they just have these blinders. So they're not looking at anything else. They're looking straight ahead. That's the only thing that they focus on. It's way easier to get to the actual outcome that you're looking for.
Opinion.
Still, bro. Dude, I'm curious. What's next? Because you did all of these things already, but like you mentioned, you're hungry for more. There's way more that you need to do. What's like the next couple months, the next couple of years? What are you focusing on?
Listen, for me right now, I can't wait to get done with school. I enjoyed school. I think a lot of entrepreneurs really hate school. I didn't really mind school. I did well in school. And the next couple of months, I've got my final exams, all of that. I'm going to be happy to get that done and unlock all those new hours. And I think the next couple of years for me are better than ever. I think I've set a good base. I understand business. I have a good knowledge. I've read a lot. I've watched a lot. I've networked a lot. And I think I've built a really solid foundation. And I want to go to the highest levels in everything. Like, I don't want to be good. I don't want to be really good. I want to be the best. Like, I really want to go to the highest levels of everything, from content to numbers in business to everything. Like, I want to go to the highest levels, and I've always wanted that, and I've always worked towards that. So I think I'm doing good for my age, but I want to do better for my age. I want to do better compared to guys that are 30 years older than me. So I've got a lot coming. I want to do a lot more of the long form content. I want to build the largest free community of young entrepreneurs. I don't want to sell anything in the moment. I'm busy building out a super cool free info product that that I'm super excited about. But I'm excited to be done with school, to have all that extra time, maybe go study at an Ivy. I'll see how that plays out. But yeah, I'm super excited for the years to come, just because I know I'm only getting started. And I think every year I just look back and I'm like, I've learned so much more, become a better person. And I keep improving and I keep doing the right things. And I know the results always follow. So I'm excited. What I want to do is I want to be the best, bro. And think in 5 years' time, I want to go to the absolute highest levels that I can.
What does that look like, though? Yeah, I'm very curious. Paint me a picture.
In everything, bro. I wanna at least 8 figures by 20. Something I'm set on.
Let's go.
And that's extremely difficult. It hasn't been done much. It has been all nothing, but I mean, I'm able to do it. The same with the personal brand stuff. I'm going to take that really seriously. And a big thing for me is I want to have as much value for free as possible. Any kid can join my free community, 15, 16-year-old from Brazil, from South Africa, from England, it doesn't matter, is that it has all the tools you need to start learning how to make money online. And that's something I'm really excited about, is building this free community. Even though I'm not going to make a shit ton of money from it, I'm excited about the impact it's going to have. And I'm excited to do a lot more long-form content, keep taking over social media. And I think I've got a few lessons to teach, and I'm going to teach them, and then we'll see.
Bro, you're a fucking shark, man. This has been an incredible pod. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me on.